This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome, and you are listening to your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today's July 20th, 2020. That's 3 20s in a row. And this is show number 79. Well, Nick, what's going on in the street today? I guess we're getting kind of slow, right?
Well, right now we got a little bit of a mixed session today. We have the NASDAQ really having a sensational session, up over 1%. Last week, the NASDAQ got hit quite hard with Options X, but none of us should be surprised if we've been paying attention or watching the podcast recently. We've been talking about how the most vulnerable equities are going to be in the NASDAQ during options expiration. But today, it looks like the NASDAQ stocks are recovering pretty nicely. We have the Dow down about 0.2%, the Russell 2000 down about 0.3%, and the S&P is up 0.2%. So a little bit of a mixed session, but overall, nothing terrible out here.
Yeah, nothing too major. And so the vaccine stocks, what's going on with them?
Well, I wanted to talk about them today a little bit because it's a great example of how stocks work. Most of the leading vaccine stocks for the COVID-19 came under some pressure today. And this is after very, very positive news from Pfizerr and BioNTech. And then you had very positive news from Astazeneka about these RNA vaccines. So apparently it's not just Moderna, but they're all making these RNA vaccines, and supposedly the news was very positive today regarding those vaccines. But the stock sold off, so you had a big sell-off earlier today in Moderna, mRNA, and a lot of people think, hey, maybe the stock sold off because of the positive news. But what happened is all of these stocks really ran very far last week. So if you take a look at Moderna, I'll use that one. The ticker symbol is mRNA. It went to $95 last week. It spiked up. Today it's selling off a little bit. It's down about $10 at the moment. Was even lower earlier. So it's coming back a little bit, but it got hit. And then if you take a look at Astazeneka, which had the big news today, that stock went above almost to $65 a share, and now it's trading at $60. So it's a buy the rumor, sell the news. And this is just a perfect example of why you want to look at charts. Because looking at a chart, I don't care what the news is. I'm never going to buy that stock with that pattern because that's what we call a parabolic pattern. And a lot of traders that know charts understand that. People that don't know charts and they're out there following the news, you know, they're buying Astazeneka up there near $65. Now they're out of the money $5 in just about 15 or 20 minutes. So it's a perfect example of why you want to use charts going forward. And I thought today we would talk about that just a little bit because that would help traders out, saying, hey, this is a perfect example of great news that turned into a selling opportunity, not a buying opportunity.
Why don't you send us a chart of those and kind of mark them up of AstraZeneca?
Sure. And I'll do Moderna as well. Yeah, I mean, they're both great classic examples.
Yeah, and that's the Bill Gates vaccine stock, which we don't need to say anything further about it. Hey, so gold and silver up again.
There seems to be no slowing these down, but I just want traders to be a little bit aware that we've had a really, really good run, and I think they're vulnerable here for a pullback. So I know I said that. I think I said that in Friday's report. I'm going to say it and reiterate it again. But one thing I will say, silver is just having another power move, though. When you look at silver today, and that's been my more favorite of the two, even though I'm not in SLV or anything that I wish I was. Be a little bit careful with it here, but silver having a really, really good day again, up about 2.3%.
So looking at the chart, all right, and you say they're both vulnerable to a pullback. Right now, on the spot, on the Kitco spot, for whatever that's worth, silver is at $19.77. It's on its way to $20. Is it going to break the $20 level and then pull back, or is it going to miss breaking 20 and pull back before it crosses it?
Well, I use the futures. So, I mean, At this stage of the game, you can get to 20. What's to say you can't? When you're that close, it's usually like a magnet, and you usually get driven right to it. But we're looking at silver futures right now. We're at 20 and a quarter. We're above 20. And now what you're going against, though, and everyone needs to realize this, is that 2016 peak from July and August. And what month are we in now? We're in July and August. So we're going up right into that anniversary high. And that usually is a time to look for a little bit of a pullback as the market, has had a great run. But those are two big pivot resistance levels. But a pullback would be healthy because that would set up for a potential breakout down the road above that level. And then once it breaks out from there, sky's the limit.
Yeah, so any pullback that we get is going to be short-lived then, huh?
I think so. I mean, with the money printing that has taken place in the last 6 months, just think about it. Why wouldn't you have any gold or silver exposure?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I had eBay bucks. I bought a bunch of, podcasting equipment on eBay recently. So I had $25 worth of eBay bucks, and somebody was selling silver bullion for $25, even though they were selling Canadian maple leafs, 1 ounce. And so I said, all right, I got the $25. That's basically free money. It's like a coupon. So I bought 2 ounces for $25 effectively, because I bought one, I paid $25. The other one was free because I had the $25 coupon. And that's what it's really trading for. That was the cheapest price I could find for coins, bullion coins, meaning like a eagle, silver eagle, or a silver maple leaf. Couldn't find anything cheaper than that, Nick. So
no, and
there's a real divergence.
You're not going to. Right now, I mean, everybody, if you have any silver, you should be holding on to that thing with a tight grip because, this is going to be where everyone should have some exposure. I mean, like the Wizard of Oz, if you read the book, it says the silver slippers, not the ruby red, the silver slippers. And everybody should have some silver exposure.
Yeah. And and the reality is, I haven't checked with my friend Andy Scheckman over at Miles Franklin, and that's where I buy all my metal. Just a plug for him. No money in it for me. But I buy all my metal from him, and his premiums were 60% when silver hit $12 on March 23rd, or 11, whatever it was. He was charging 60 or 80% higher, which means he was getting $18, $19 at that point. And the premiums have gone down, but the price has gone up. And at this point, I got to believe he'd be getting $23 an ounce for bullion. But, buying bar is probably not the best move. You're better off buying either like pre-1965 90% silver coins, or buying those 1 ounce maple leafs and eagles, silver eagles. But just fascinating how this market has run up. And it used to be when the market was going up, metals went down for years, right, Nick? And that changed a couple of years ago, like roughly in 2018, when gold and silver started going up, particularly gold. All of a sudden, gold was going up with the market.
Yeah, and you saw the same thing in, in all fairness, saw the same thing in 2006, 2007. Gold bottomed in 99. I mean, it took off to the races, and it had a tremendous rally. When the stock market crashed in 2008, so did gold. Gold really took a big hit, and then it came back with a vengeance to 2011 and made a new high, and then we went into, a 5-year pullback. But that's really all it was. The trend is firmly intact on the larger time frames with gold, silver, and all of the precious metals. And I think traders, should always keep an eye out for the bigger time frame trends. I think people lose sight of that sometimes. But, as long as I've been talking to you, Kerry, and it's been years now, I've always said that, these pullbacks they're not bad. You want to see that because it gets the weak hands out and it gets the strong hands in. And, now at the highs, everybody loves gold. Everybody loves silver. But, back then, you're talking about, when we were talking about gold a few years back in 2015, 16, 17, people were not so high on it anymore. And here we are now, very, very close to the all-time highs.
Yeah, and we only need a 10% move in gold to break 2,000, which would be the all-time record. And, of course, silver was at 49 and change, 49.20, I think, a while back. So it's got to more than double. It's got to go up 150% just to get to its old low. I mean, its old high, rather. Just to get to its old high, it's got to double.
But a lot of people should go back and look at the 2008 low in silver. And silver back then traded, I think it was $8.40 on the silver futures. And we spiked up in 2011, April 2011, as high as 49.82. Yeah. When it goes parabolic, there's no stopping it. It's a complete freight train. And, pattern pending, obviously, when you get that type of move, there's going to be no stopping it again. And I try to tell people that's why it's so important to learn these patterns, because if you don't recognize them, you're not going to be part of that move and you're not going to catch it. Or it could just, the train leaves the station and it leaves without you, and then you just can't afford it.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, as always, Nick. Well, anyways, we got to get going here, but make sure you go over, check out Nick's record, inthemoneystocks.com. We'll get those charts on the vaccine manufacturers up there on the screen for you so you can look at them and actually see exactly what Nick is talking about and reading their charts. Make sure you take a look at the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, and at Kerry Lutz. Write us, KL@KerryLutz.com. We'll answer your questions later on in the week. But, Nick, it's an interesting start to the trading week. We'll see where it goes from here.
Yes, we'll see. And it is every week going forward is going to be quite something. So sit tight. This story gets better.
All right. We will sit tight. Well, we'll be trading, but we'll be sitting tight when we're trading. Okay?
Sounds good, Kerry.
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Nick. Thanks.
Thank you.
This concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. For more information, go to inthemoneystocks.com and see Nick's full trading record, or check out the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago 01.